Shalom, Akim, all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shabbat, Shemra, Kakwadash, double honor to the apostles, elders of great millstone. Salute to the sincere Akim out there of the hopeful elect. All right. Yeah, man, I'm going to go right into the scriptures, man. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 12, verse 26. It reads, "And if Satan cast out Satan, he is divided against himself. How shall then his kingdom stand?" All right. Satan represents the so-called white man. Okay. And right now in the government, American politics, you know, you got Satan casting out Satan. I'm bringing this up because Donald Trump and Elon Musk, all right, who had a tight union in the beginning of Donald Trump's presidency, they're now at odds with each other, man. You know, Trump put Elon Musk on to Doge, right? Had him, you know, basically, make the government more efficient in its spending and such through eliminating certain programs that he felt was unnecessary spending. And you know, Trump had them all in the Oval Office with him. You know, he's real supportive of Elon Musk and what have you. And Elon Musk, of course, supported Donald Trump and helped him get into the presidency. All right, but now they're at odds with each other, man. You know, where you got Elon Musk, he's not, you know, he's not feeling Donald Trump's big beautiful bill or whatever bullshit he's trying to pass. And it even called out Donald Trump as far as saying that he's a part of the Epstein files. All right, that he was, you know, he was out there swinging with Jeffrey Epstein. Okay, in which we already knew that shit. You know, you see the old video footage of Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein chilling together, partying together or whatever. All right. And you know, Trump's Mar-a-Lago spot where he stays at down there in Florida is right next to Jeffrey Epstein's Florida residence. All right, so they live in close proximity of each other. They hang out together. It's the saying, birds of a feather flock together. All right, so Trump was certainly involved in all of that Epstein fiasco, that Jeffrey Epstein fiasco. All right, and Elon Musk is saying the reason why Donald Trump hasn't really released the Jeffrey Epstein files, okay, is because, you know, his name is in it. All right, you know, in which Trump was saying he was going to bring the file, he's going to bring out the Epstein files. Okay, that was one of his promises. All right, but you know, this whole little bullshit going on between Trump and Elon Musk is basically Satan casting out Satan. You know, and this is all done through the spirit of Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai. Shows you how these Edomites can be tight with each other, all right? And then in a split second, they could be at fucking odds with each other, man. Okay? So you got Satan casting out Satan. I'm gonna read this again. This is St. Matthew chapter 12, verse 26. "And if Satan cast out Satan, he is divided against himself. How shall then his kingdom stand?" All right? Satan is the adversary. Okay, that's what the word Satan actually means. The Hebrew word shaitan, which means adversary or adverse. Okay, and the so-called white man is Satan because he's adverse to the law, statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai. All right, and he's totally against righteousness, man. Okay, that's why everything is all fucking wicked in this society. You know, and they don't adhere to the law, statutes, and commandments of the Heavenly Father, and they're blasphemers. You know, claiming to be the chosen people of God, all right, claiming to be the Lord himself. Okay, so they're basically Satan. They're none other than Satan, the adversary. And if Satan cast out Satan, then how shall his kingdom stand? We're showing you, which we bear witness to this today, that America, that great empire of America, right, which is known as Babylon the Great in the Holy Bible, is coming to a fucking end. You know, that's not hard to see, man. You don't, right now, really, you shouldn't have to be a prophet of the Lord to see that America is at its demise. Okay? And how all of these government officials and these rich devils are going against each other and are at odds with each other. It shows you that that this society, white society, you know, the ones that call the shots in this country, this setup, all right, and being that they got this division amongst themselves, all right, that this place ain't gonna fucking last long, man. Okay, it ain't gonna last long. Now you got Elon Musk calling for Trump's impeachment. Okay, he calling for Trump impeachment. So, you know, it's about to go down, man. And this is all done through the spirit of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 19, verse 1. Chapter 19, verse 1. It says, the burden of Egypt. Behold, the Lord rideth upon a swift cloud, and shall come into Egypt, and the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence, and the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it. All right. So the burden of Egypt represents America. Okay, America follows after the same philosophies of ancient Egypt. You know, mainly when it goes into sun worship. All right, the idolization of the phallic symbol. Okay, that's why you have the obelisk out here in New York City, right? Behind the Metropolitan Museum of Art in Central Park, you have an actual obelisk that was shipped over here from Heliopolis in Egypt, okay, by one of the elite families of the society, the Vanderbilt family. You know, they financed that, you know, the erection of the obelisk behind the Met, okay, and in order to pay homage to ancient Egypt. All right, down in Washington, D.C., you have the Washington Monument, all right, which is nothing more than the obelisk. And the obelisk is a phallic symbol, man, all right? If you don't know what the phallic symbol is, that's an erected penis, because that's what they worship in this society, man. You know, that's what these devils are into. They're sexual deviants, man, okay? So it says, the burden of Egypt, behold, the Lord rideth upon a swift cloud. And that cloud represents them UFOs, what the so-called white man calls UFOs, chariots of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, all right? Or they call them UAPs nowadays. That's how the Lord is coming back. You know, you people go to these churches on Sundays and talk about, you know, you talking about how you dying to see Jesus Christ, as you call him, okay? And you know, you're in preparation for his return, but you don't do none of the law, statutes, and commandments that he baited unto you to do or to keep. All right, but you don't know how the Lord is coming back. Y'all think he's coming back to bring peace. He's just gonna descend on an actual cloud, like you see on the goddamn Weather Channel, all right, and just bring peace and harmony to the world. No, that cloud is talking about a so-called UFO. And there's UFO sightings all over the world, man. All over the world, you know. It's to the point where the so-called white man can't cover the shit up anymore, man. It make you seem to think that you deranged and delusional when you see these UFOs out there in the heavens, okay? All right? But that's how the Lord is coming back. It says, and the idols of Egypt shall be moved at his presence. Yeah, all these false gods you worship in this country, man, the Lord is going to shake all of that shit up and tear them down. You know, all of these different idols that our people are into, these false religions, okay? Because when the Lord comes back, you're going to see that the Lord ain't dealing with no goddamn Muslims, because he's going to fucking destroy you niggas for being Muslims. You're going to see that the Lord ain't dealing with Allah. You're going to see the Lord ain't dealing with Jah and that Rastafarian religion. Once he destroy all you fucking goddamn mop head Jamaican niggas that's into worshiping Jah, into that Rastafarianism, smoking your goddamn weed, okay? The Lord is going to destroy all these fucking religions and philosophies, all of the idols that his people are worshiping, okay? It says, and the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it. All right? Yeah, the spirit of Egypt, the heart of Egypt shall melt in the midst of it. You know, because when the Lord comes back, you know, see, there's a term y'all like, you stupid ass Americans like to say, God bless America. Okay? When the Lord comes back, you're going to see that he's not coming back to bless America. That he's actually coming back to destroy America. And there's plenty of scriptures I could pull out to prove that through the scriptures. All right? Amos 9 and 8. The whole book of Revelations, the 18th chapter, goes into the destruction or the demise of America. Isaiah the 13th chapter, okay, mainly around the 19th verse. Isaiah the 34th chapter. I mean, we can just go on and on. Jeremiah 51. You know, all the prophets seen the same vision. America being destroyed. They would call it Babylon, Babylon the Great, all right, the virgin daughter of Babylon, or they'll name it, or they would call it after certain other ancient kingdoms that fell, prior to the rise of America. Okay, you know, Egypt, all right, Syria, Nineveh, all of these different countries, man. The Greco-Roman Empire, all right. So the Lord is about to fuck America up, man. He's about to waste this place, man. Okay. It says, and I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians. All right. And the modern day Egyptians, once again, is the so-called white man. All right. Because America is the new Egypt and is being ruled by none other than the so-called white man. All right. And that's why the Lord said, I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians. That's Satan casting out Satan. Because remember, the so-called white man is Satan. Okay. So that's the reason why these rich devils, these devils who are in power, these elites, they can't fucking get along, man. They cannot get along, you know? And they can't come to an agreement, all right? And the Lord is just basically causing so much disorder and division among them, they're going to wind up casting themselves out, man. Especially when them nuclear missiles are launched, all right? You know, like I did a video talking about World War III and America's caught up in a quagmire, all right? You look at Trump now, he's basically he's basically got to deal with two major fucking wars, man. All right, Russia and Ukraine going at it, and Iran, okay, in which he's itching. He's itching and to declare war on Iran, okay, and all of his advisors, man. You know, they're itching for him to basically start some shit with Iran, okay. In the minute that they do that, all right, declare war on Iran, all the other countries, right, that's part of the BRICS nations, they're going to get involved and defend Iran. You know, they're going to protect their investment. Russia, China, all right, and all these different countries that are dealing with Iran. Okay, so you know, through them fucking gutter rats, them so-called Jews, all right, that's going to lead America or bring America into this third world war, all right. That's going to wind up being the downfall of white society. So it says, and I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight everyone against his brother. So it's going to be a civil war in this country, man. It's going to be a civil war, all right? You know, you got the two bi-parties going at it, with the bipartisanship, with the Republicans and the Democrats, okay? You know, and, you know, through the division of society, rich, poor, black, white, so to speak, male, female, all right? It's just going to be utter chaos in this fucking country, man. Anarchy, okay? And it's going to be a civil war. That's why they depict it in these Hollywood films, man. You know? They depict it. They say life imitates art, you know? So they showing you through art what's going to actually take place, that it's not far-fetched, you know? You got movies like The Purge and all of that, you know? All of this stuff is going to take place, man. But you ain't gonna be watching it on the silver screen. It's gonna be right outside your goddamn front door. You're right outside your front door, man. All hell is gonna break loose. It says in everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. All right, so it's gonna be a global war, World War III, and there's gonna be a civil war in this country, man. Okay. Satan casting out Satan, the so-called white man divided. So I'm going to end it on that note. Say shalom, Baba Rakim, Lord willing, I'll see you in the next one. Shalom.